is Jessica Joy. This is my story, Solutions, because I'm only a solutions kind of person. And we have been going over constitutional law. We've been going over your constitutional rights. You as a business owner, what are your rights? We are literally dying for the lack of knowledge. We have businesses up and down this main street in Grand Junction, Colorado, that are slitting their own throats because they have no idea of how important the Constitution is. Because someone did not pay attention during civics class, this town is going down in a blaze of glory. We stopped teaching the Constitution and we only taught Marxism. We only taught communism. So this is what happens when you only teach communism and you stop going over the Bill of Rights. So you have the Constitution and then you have the Bill of Rights going, oops, maybe we made a mistake. We have to do a few amendments. Why are we doing amendments? Because these people are coming to our houses and they're taking our children and they're pummeling our houses and taking everything and walking right out the door. See, we have lost everything because we didn't understand our Bill of Rights. Well, today we have been going up and down the street and we'll go block by block by block, educating people. It's a matter of time before we are all off of social media. Our voice is not heard. Our interviews are not on ABC. They're not on CBS. They're not on NBC. No one is going to pay attention to us. No one is going to hear you until you go a little bit old school. And I'm like, okay, what did they do back in the early 1800s? Yeah, we're about to go early 1800s. Because if no one is going to educate our people on what their constitutional rights are, then the responsibility is yours. If you talk about biblical authority and you don't walk in biblical authority, you might want to not talk about biblical authority because it says everywhere that I set my foot is mine. That includes your community. So we went business by business, seeing where these folks stand on their constitutional rights. You can absolutely, positively tell who on this in downtown Grand Junction understands that we're losing everything because we don't know what the Constitution said, the Bill of Rights. We don't know what our rights are. That we think that the government can just come into our lives, ransack it, and they don't have to give anything back. They don't have to pay for it. Well, if you know anything about building a road, which I really don't know too much about building roads, but if you have a road that's going near your property, and let's pretend that the government wants to build into your road, then there is a part that's also in your state constitution because you are a dual citizen of the United States and then you are a citizen of your state. Your state constitution goes over what happens when the government wants to take something from you. So I guess we all missed that part where the government wants to take something from us, that they want to imprison us without due process. How many have been imprisoned without due process? Our children have gone under child abuse because child isolation is child abuse. So it's time to know our rights. I definitely want you guys to go onto Constitutional Law Group. Once again, Constitutional Law Group. You're going to go onto the left-hand side, click on Resources. What? Resources. Say it again. Resources. For those in the back row, go on to Constitutional Law Group and click onto Resources. There you're going to find resources for your superintendent of your schools. You're going to find resources to take on your school board. You're going to find resources to take on your company, your big business. You're going to find resources for those who are operating outside of their bounds of your original contract. What do you mean original contract? So when you have a business, you have a business license. How many of you have a business and how many of you have a business license? I have a business license. And you have this relationship with, like, I don't know, the health department or here in Colorado, they call this little stupid thing called DORA. Oh, we're going to fine you. Well, those fines and those edicts, those weren't in our original contract. So you, as an actor for that state, you know, that little state company thing, that box thing that you're operating outside of our original contract. And I bet you guys didn't know that there's criminal charges, there's criminal liability for when you impersonate the government. And yes, they're going to be using you as the brown coats. If you haven't realized that, especially here in Colorado, you can have awesome city council, you can have awesome county commissioners, you can have a great sheriff, but then the governor is going to send the brown coats on you. So if you don't know what to do when the brown coats come into your business, then that's on you. I'm here to educate businesses of what happens when the brown coats come into their business to confiscate what? They confiscated the liquor in one of our Colorado businesses. They're there to confiscate and ransack the place, and they are operating outside of the bounds of the Constitution. So yes, they are looking at criminal charges, and so I and my dear little friend across the street, we have been enjoying educating businesses what happens when these brown coats come in and they operate outside of the constitutional bounds. So if you go onto the Constitutional Law Group, you're going to see what in the resources, there's a PDF. How do we take back America? We take responsibility. Your business is your responsibility. You knowing your rights is your responsibility. You protecting your community is your responsibility. Take responsibility. When I chose recovery, what was the first step of recovery? It was for me to take responsibility. The first step of the restoration process of the United States is to, number one, admit we have a problem, and then we take personal responsibility. So, take responsibility. What is freedom to you? What are you willing to sacrifice? Well, these businesses down here, they literally have nothing left to sacrifice. So 2 Mondays ago, and I've been going to county commissioner meetings by myself for the last 2 or 3 months, and there's been no conservatives at their county commissioners meetings. There have been no conservative voices loud and truly hearing and demanding a remedy at the city councils. If these folks want to restore the Constitution, they've had 9 months to do so. So if you hear me talk about criminal charges and you're like, Jessica, criminal charges, that's so mean. You're so mean, Jessica. They have destroyed lives. Kids have committed suicide. So criminal charges and them being a treasonous human of the United States, let's do this. Let's roll. If you won't press charges, someone else will. Oh, honey, boo-boo. Someone will. So we take responsibility. What is freedom to you? What are you willing to sacrifice? You guys have already sacrificed most of your business, most of your income. You've sacrificed the sanity of your children. You've allowed the destruction of your marriage. How much more are you willing to sacrifice? Time to educate yourself and others, or we lose the greatest republic that has ever been established. If we lose America, the entire world loses. When I was down in Texas this last summer, we had Chinese for Trump that were coming to every single rally. We had people from communist countries coming to every single meeting that there was. And they're like, I can't believe that Texas is sitting here and doing nothing. This one guy came from Chicago and he had a shirt that said Texas. And he's like, I came from this communist country, and then I came from Chicago. I keep moving. He's like, Texas, you have to do something. He was wearing a Texas shirt. He was like, Texas, wake the tar up. We have to wake up. Those who have fled communist countries are begging us to do something. They left communism not to see America become a communist nation. If you do not know your rights, you have no rights. See, we went up and down these streets today. There's a lot of closed businesses. Why are they closed? Because those business owners did not know their constitutional rights. The time is of the essence. So step 1, take responsibility. Step 2, take action. Open your business. No masks, no social distancing. Study the Constitution and the Sheriff's Handbook. You will see the Sheriff's Handbook on the Constitutional Law Group. Share with others and share this website with others. Next step, the sheriff's authority and oath. Unite we the people with the sheriff. Print off and read the sheriff's handbook and schedule a meeting with your sheriff. If the sheriff is unconstitutional and not upholding his oath of office, create a petition to recall him. So, interesting enough, I had this woman who is a genius at local government. She was like, Jessica, yes, you can criminally charge all of those on city council. You can also find how many votes to get them recalled. So we have this communist here in town who walks like a communist, talks like a communist. She is in full-blown enforcement of the Marxist agenda, defund the police, discredit the founding fathers, do away with constitutional oaths. Her name is Anna Stout, and no one ran against her for her city council position. So you take how many voted for her, and then you take 25% in every state. It's a little different. You take 25% of those votes, they're needed, and from what I understood this week, only 500 signatures are needed to get the communists off of city council. So if you look on news, go ahead and look up there is a town in the United States that they threatened them. They knew exactly how many signatures were needed to get every single position recalled. What did they do? They said, hey, we ain't playing with mask edicts anymore. We are not playing your jumping jacks anymore. And they took from city council every single number that was needed for every individual to have them recalled. Look it up on Google. It's a real place and a real story, is that yes, we can press criminal charges, but also boo-boo, ain't nobody got 2 more years of Anna Stout's communism. We don't want, no. And then we have another commissioner coming in that everybody's like, she's a Christian. Well, I think on this female commissioner that's going to be taking office in January, from what I think we gotta know where she stands on contact tracing. It's up to we, the people, to demand this incoming commissioner that goes to church. Where do you stand on forced contact tracing? Yes, because we don't. We're not for the Patriot Act. We are not for this contact tracing. It's unconstitutional. She's also for forced vaccination. But don't take my word for it. I think we need public record. Before we have communists sworn in as our commissioner in just a few weeks. Oh, she goes to church, she's so sweet. That we have to get their public stance on where they stand. Are you just here? You're like, ah!
I was just wondering what your message was.
My message is our constitutional rights being restored. That if you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. If you want to stand on one leg and bounce through the subdivisions, stand on one leg and bounce through the subdivisions. If you're scared, stay home. We don't want scared people driving. I mean, we already have to be afraid of drunk drivers. I'm definitely afraid of, now we have to be afraid of the people who are afraid of afraid. Stay home if you're afraid. So we are so down for constitutional rights that we have been incarcerated without due process. We've been under house arrest without due process. Has anyone gone to been arrested, charges filed and then arrested and then in front of a jury of your peers so that we could be under house arrest? No, they have skipped that due process. They have come in, they've ransacked our businesses, skipping over due process. There has been no negotiation of, how much was your business worth? We'll compensate you for closing down forever. No. So it's time to be proactive instead of reactive. Rights violated due to forced and lawful mask wearing and social distancing. Ways that you can start getting involved. Print out our notice of discrimination and carry it with you at all times. Next, document names, dates, places, and business cards of owners and managers. Videotape the encounters and take photos. File a discrimination charge with the sheriff's office. File an affidavit of truth and fact against all parties who cause you injury. So, cause you injury? Okay, so without the violation of your constitutional rights, what if so-and-so would have overdosed? This child that is 11 years old, without these rights of this child being violated, that 11-year-old who committed suicide, yeah, that 11-year-old probably wouldn't have committed suicide. Without the violation of your rights, with your business closed, without the rights of your constitutional rights being violated, would your marriage would have dissolved like it did. Without the rights of your constitution being violated, would ... happen. That is what an affidavit is. And it is truth in the courts. So you're going, here's my affidavit. That's on this website where we charge these oath breakers as criminals that they are, operating outside of their constitutional oath. So Matt's...
Keep it up. I love your passion.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Remedy. So whenever we go for litigation and legislation, we're always seeking a remedy. No one has a remedy. If you go ahead and go onto YouTube and, before we all get kicked off, and look up brainwashing. When you look up brainwashing and you look up torture, the idea that the goalpost always moves, that's a torture tactic. Anyone that has a trauma background, you know that the goalpost moving all the time, that is a torture tactic. And then little crumbs of stimuli. Oh yes, oh look, well, our churches can open to 25%. Yeah, these are all torture tactics. Remedy, there's strengths in numbers. So 2 Mondays ago, whenever the county commissioners violated the sunshine law and they locked their doors to the general public, we band together. That was 2 Tuesdays ago. By Thursday night, we had over 30 business owners coming together, sharing their stories because they realized no one is going to listen to us. Is anyone coming to save you?
No?
So we can either talk about the businesses closing around us, or we can be about it, and we can preserve the life as we know it with a sanctuary town, a sanctuary for those who still believe in the Constitution. So remedy, strengthen numbers, websites and resources, take action, file an affidavit of truth and fact against the governor, the health district workers, your liquor board employees in their private capacity, because they are our servants. This local government political genius who was talking to me the other night, she was like, yes, we can get the exact number that voted these people in, and we can also recall them. The liquor board employees, this is their private capacity. Let's go over some more law. So when we went to these businesses, we started off with this thing that they've started, like the Nazi Auschwitz training camp here. They did the 5-star variants. What is the 5-star variants? This is where they have the brown coats come in, and let's say you have somebody with a mask half down their face, they're gonna knock off your star rating. So these business owners here have incredible PTSD. The tactic that Governor Polis and the commissioners used here is a tactic that we use in legislation. Like, they did this code red, stupid marketing malarkey, and they said, we're going to close down all of these places and all of these businesses because we're mean. Blah, 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 die. And so then Mesa County was like, we're not going to close. And I told everybody, I'm like, go ahead and write them thank you notes that they stood up and that we're not going to take it. But do you know what the commissioners did after that? Oh, yes. They're like, we're not going to close the businesses. We're going to do a 5-star variance. And I'm like, no. Ask the Jews how that went for them. Not very well, huh? So you have all these secret shoppers and everybody narking on you. I'm sorry, Mesa County commissioners. That Nazi program didn't really work out very well. How many Jews? Yeah, we're not getting on that Auschwitz train. So when I was like, everybody, tell these commissioners how awesome they are. Thank you so much for not closing down for this unconstitutional malarkey. Then they're like, oh, the 5-star variants where we're going to give star ratings for businesses. And the people are like, please give us star ratings. We beg for it. Do you guys see that little strategy they used? They're like, we're going to destroy you. No, don't destroy me. We'll comply. We'll comply to this 5-star malarkey. Yeah, we just signed up for communism. Take your notes, pen and paper, look up the rating system in China. Look up the rating system in China. The social rating system in China. Go ahead, write that down, look it up. Because these Republican by name only commies, they just signed Mesa County up for that. All of those in red counties across Colorado are like, please sign us up for communism. We want the 5-star variance rating. I love communism. So look at the rating system in China. This social rating system is on your phone, and this dictates who you date, who you don't date, who you marry, who you don't marry, who you hang out with. If you buy cigarettes, your rating score goes down. If you buy alcohol, your rating score goes down. Yes, if you do a car loan with a friend and they fault on it, your ratings go down. So you're judged by who you hang out with, who your phone is next to. Yeah. Ooh, contact tracing? You mean it knows where you are in the grocery store, and if you pick up cigarettes? Oh yes, it's we're a cashless society nowadays. So this is all part of the communist agenda. And here's Mesa County Republican by name only. Oh yes, communism. Give me more. Oh, let's do contact tracing and forced vaccination. Folks. They're a Republican. They go to church. Yeah. And she wants to force vaccinate you. Fabulous. I'll let you take a lucky guess on who that is that's getting sworn into office. She wants to put all of us on the cattle cart. Yeah, well, that's going to be fab. Fab. So we put this into businesses today. We found out which business are pro-communism and which business are like, hey, we are pro-Bill of Rights. This letter is what you give and make sure that all of your employees have access to for when the brown coats come to your business. Dear official, this is what you give them. Don't tell them about your day. Don't tell them about your electric bill. They don't care. Don't tell them about your car note. Don't tell them about your kids. They're there doing the footwork of Hitler. So it goes, "Dear official, I'm aware that you're only here to do your job, but I'm warning you, do not proceed any further. You are attempting to deprive me of my rights under the color of law, and you are committing an act of domestic terrorism." Yes, DORA are domestic terrorists. Our health department, domestic terrorists. They're operating outside of their original licensed agreement. So who are they? Domestic terrorists. Say after me, domestic terrorists. Domestic terrorists. Domestic terrorists. Domestic terrorists. So glad you guys are all caught up on the same page. You are, okay, please okay, so, you are attempting to deprive me of my rights under the color of law and are committing an act of domestic terrorism. Yes, health department, what are we going to do? We are going to go through our city ordinances, and you can go in and put in, okay, health department, what are you doing? You're finding every ordinance that has the word health department, health director, and then you're finding the ordinance number, and then you gather all of your businesses together, and you go before your city council and your county commissioners, and you say, this is null and void, this is null and void, this is null and void, because the government is not in charge of our health. Yeah, our healthcare is not the government's responsibility. Can I get an amen? Okay, so I'm advising you to take this letter back to your office, copy it, and get a copy to your supervisor. Please distribute it broadly throughout your office. As the official that has been dispatched to do whatever it is you're here to do, you are the one at risk, and that is likely not fair to you. Since you are only doing what you've been told to do, the problem is you're being told to do something that's criminal. Everybody say criminal. 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 Yes! The health department are acting in the office of a criminal. And Dora. And here in Colorado, Dora is not an explorer. Dora. Yeah. Okay. So, deprivation of rights under the color of law. Title 18 USC Section 242. Section 242 of Title 18 makes it a crime of a person acting under the color of law to willfully deprive a person of right or privilege protected by the Constitution or laws of the United States. For the purpose of Section 242, acts under the color of law include acts not only by federal, state, and local officials within the lawful authority, but also acts done beyond the bounds of that official's lawful authority. So what can I do as a business owner? Get out your business license. What can I do as a shop owner? Get out your shop license. Do you see anything in that license about Dora the Explorer talking about a germ or a pandemic that violates your constitutional rights? If it's not in your business's original contract, these folks are operating outside of the constitutional bounds. Yes, that's right. So persons acting under the color of law within the meaning of the statute include police officers, prison guards, and other law enforcement officials, as well as judges, care providers, and public health facilities, and others who are acting as public officials. So when you have Dora the Explorer come into these businesses around here, yes, they're acting as like an official arm of our Nazi communist polis. Hi, I represent Nazi communist polis. How can I destroy your business? Okay, then it is not necessary that the crime be motivated by animus toward the race, color, religion, sex, handicap, familial status, or national origin of the victim. The offense is punishable by the range of imprisonment up to life or death penalty, depending on the circumstances of the crime resulting in injury. Can you say that a little bit slower? So, Dora the Explorer and the health department and, yes, our communist commissioners who had the audacity to call this like Bill of Rights Week. Hello? Did you just happen to call this Bill of Rights Week? Wow. Title 18, USC Section 242. Whoever, under the color of law, statute, ordinance, regulation, or custom, willfully subjects any person in any state, territory, commonwealth, possession, or district to the deprivation of any rights, privileges, immunities secured to or protected by the Constitution or laws of the United States shall be fined under this title or imprisoned, not for more than 1 year, or both, or if bodily injury. Would you or someone you know have this bodily injury if your constitutional rights were not stomped on this whole year? shall be fined under the title or imprisonment for no longer than 1 year or both. And if bodily injury results from the acts of the committed violation of this section, or if such acts include the use, attempted use, or threatened use of dangerous weapons, explosive, or fire, shall be fined under the title or imprisoned not more for 10 years or both. And if death results, yes, if you or someone you know committed suicide this year, you can take out your commissioners. And you get an affidavit, and you get an affidavit, and you get an affidavit. Yes, without your constitutional rights being absolutely destroyed, would have ... happened. That's how you have to look at the year. So start your day with your gratefuls. Oh Lord, I'm so grateful that the sun is shining. And then start your day with your gratefuls, and then make a list of everything that the government destroyed this year. Because, yes, we're criminally charging everybody. And if you don't feel comfortable, it's okay. Someone else will. Fire shall be fined under the title or imprisonment, not for more than 10 years or both. If death results from the acts of committed violation of this section, or if such acts include kidnapping or attempted kidnapping or aggravated sexual abuse, or the attempt to commit aggravated sexual abuse or an attempt to kill, shall be fined under this title or imprisoned for any term of years, for life, or both, or may be sentenced to death. Yeah, this is pretty serious. Next page, and see all these PDFs are on constitutionallawgroup.us. All these PDFs are available on constitutionallawgroup.us. Then on every single thing that they have a PDF of, they have a contact phone number. So they have a contact phone number hotline that anytime when the brown coats come into your business, you can be like, stop, drop, and roll. I have rights, and here's my representation. Yes, if they want to do a health inspection, you can schedule that for after hours. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so here's my representation. We ain't talking boo-boo. Businesses know the law when the government comes knocking. When a government official shows up to fine or close your business because you will not force your employees or customers to comply with unlawful orders, mask wearing, and social distancing, the stupid game of follow the leader that we've been playing for a year, you have the following constitutional protected rights. A, First Amendment. Protects freedom of religion for you and your customers. B, the Fourth Amendment protects your property. Number one, your rights are your property. So way back in the day when dinosaurs roamed the earth, they used to say that your natural rights are life, liberty, and the pursuit of property. So I guess like life, liberty, and the pursuit of property, somebody put happiness. No, it's life, liberty, and the pursuit of property. They have kept you from your property, and they don't plan on ever giving it back. What are you going to do? Take out a loan with China? China. The Fourth Amendment protects your property. Number one, your rights are your property. Number two, your physical business is also, you said it, property. The government cannot take your property without due process of the law, and they cannot deny you the right to protect your property. Oh my gosh, did you hear that, Ethel? Dear Ethel, Our Fourth Amendment has been violated for 9 months now, Ethel. Ethel, guess what? Number one, your rights are your property. Number two, your physical business is also your property. The government cannot take your property without due process of the law. There are so many businesses here in Mesa County that have been absolutely destroyed without due process of the law. Because they did not know their constitutional rights, they let the government ransack them. Does the government plan on reimbursing you? Abso-freaking-lutely not. You destroyed your child's inheritance and you held the knife. I know. Once again, look up torture. You're going to see this is psychological torture. They're following every single step of it. The U.S. Supreme Court in Marbury versus Madison in 1803, a law repugnant to the Constitution is void. It has no force of law and can be ignored. Yeah. That includes these masks. That includes these stupid stickers on the floor. That includes these stupid stickers on the door, from the floor to the door. These are edicts. These are opinions. Go ahead. You can put stickers all over your property. You're not going to come into our property and put stickers on the floors and the doors. Thus far and no more, Satan. So Mac Prince versus United States in 1997, Justice Scalia wrote, "The Constitution protects us from our own best interests. Any code the government claims to pass for our safety cannot be upheld or enforced since it was outside of the rule of law and governmental authority. Your government and school districts forcing your children to isolate, that's called child abuse. Therefore, inform the government official that you will sue them personally. Their government status does not protect them if they fine, close up your business, or arrest you. Under Title 18 of USC Section 242, the deprivation of rights under color of law, it is a crime for a person acting under color of any law to willfully deprive a person of a right or a privilege protected by the Constitution of the United States. What was the name of the law group again? Constitutionallawgroup.us. Is this free? Absolutely, because there are a few patriots that want to help out us going down in the blaze of glory. So what's the number? It's on all of the PDFs. This is for when the Browncoats storm your castle. The Browncoats acting as a government official? Yes. That is in violation of your constitutional rights. Here's the number that the Browncoats can call. You do have representation. It is available around the clock. It's 888-983-4616. What's that number again, Ethel? 888-983-4616. What's the name of the law group again? Constitutional Law Group. It is a band of constitutional lawyers working together to protect what's left of our rights. All of these PDFs. Welcome. We are a constitutionally compliant business. We are not infringing on anyone's unalienable rights. By law, we do not follow any of the government's, mayors, health departments, or other government agencies' orders or suggestions pertaining to social distancing or mask wearing. Your health is your responsibility, says the Constitutional Law Group. Look what's here. It's my best friend. How did your day go when you went door to door telling people about their constitutional rights?
I had a lot of people open to learning more about it. They didn't realize. Some people don't even realize it. But I have to go get my babies.
Thank you so much. See you later. Okay, so what was our game plan? Well, obviously we have never had to save the world before, right, Desiree? So since we've never had to save the world, we were just kind of winging it. This is kind of like lobbying when I was at the state policy level, is that you have constitutional law and you are convincing someone of their rights. So we went to the businesses up and down Main Street because we have to build a huge coalition. If we all rip the stickers off the floors, off the doors, and we start filing criminal charges against our elected officials for operating outside of their constitutional bounds, as in it keeps them from us, yeah, down. So here's something that you place on your door. It says, welcome. We are a constitutionally compliant business. We are not infringing on anyone's unalienable rights. By law, we do not follow any of the governor's, mayors, or health departments or other government agencies' orders or suggestions pertaining to social distancing or mask wearing because your health is your responsibility. Whose health is whose responsibility? Yeah. Abortion is not healthcare. Trans ideology is not sex education. Oh, what? Yes, those hormone blockers on children, we're paying for that. That is one faith-based belief forcing another faith-based belief to commit an act of immorality through coercion of their tax dollars. So it's time for us to stand up and do an audit of all the budgets. We are not paying for trans ideology. We are not paying for abortion. We're not going to be forced to commit an act of immorality. This is forcing us to lie. This is making us, the nonconformers, to commit a lie against our belief system. This is a freedom of religion. Boo-boo. Your health is your responsibility. Another thing that you can place on your doors. The USA Patriot Act of 2001, Section 802. What section? 802. Say it again, 802. Definition of domestic terrorism. Acts that appear to be intended to intimidate or coerce a civilian population are acts of domestic terrorism. Then it gives the link. Because when you call somebody a domestic terrorist, it's going to be really fun. Yeah, so we had 26 million people take part in burning down 2,240 locations for political or social gain. That is the definition of domestic terrorism. So technically, we have 26 million indoctrinated terrorists that burned down over 2,240 locations for political or social objectives. So, yes, we are staring down the face of 26 million domestic terrorists. Notice to all government officials and law enforcement, this business is operating lawfully. We are not in violation of any license to do business. Edicts and orders issued by governmental power are not more than anything but suggestions. We are not required to follow them. We are not breaking any laws. We are fully aware of this, and now you are fully aware of this fact too. And it says, stop, in the name of the constitutional law. Before we press criminal charges. We are fully aware of this, and now you're aware of this fact as well. Stop. If you proceed with these acts of intimidation or coercion, you are violating your own financial security, liberty, and your liberty is in jeopardy. Once you knowingly and willingly violate your oath, you forfeit judicial immunity and may be sued in your professional and private capacity. You are subject to lose everything in your private capacity, including houses, cars, all of the money in your bank accounts, and anything else you owe. You'll be sued to the fullest capacity of the law. Constitutional Law Group. And once again, there's the phone number. Oh wow, this is gonna be fun. This one's for schools. Schools. Your offspring are your biological property. You cannot be deprived of your property without due process. Oh, that thing where they have to quarantine without their parents? Yeah, that's a violation of the Constitution. Your offspring are your biological property. You cannot be deprived of your property without due process. The Fourth Amendment, the right of the people to be secure in their persons, shall not be violated. First Amendment, Ninth Amendment, 10th Amendment, 14th Amendment, Section 2 and 3. If your offspring's health is at risk, go to the school and get their names of the superintendent, the principal, the vice principal, the teacher, the nurse, the school administrator, and all involved in violating. I like that word. Yes, you violated my offspring. And involved in violating and endangering the health and safety of your biological property without and against your consent. They do it every day. File a criminal complaint with the County Sheriff's Office of Child Endangerment. They must respond to this within 14 days of the demand with an unrebuted testimony of an affidavit of fact and truth. This must be based on solid research and testimony of the respected professionals in the medical and scientific fields. And yes, there's tons of information on these forced vaccinations and the precedent that was said to be there. I think we went over a few things that are on that website, but I wanted you guys to be very aware that if you want to talk about biblical authority and you want to talk about your responsibility as a Christ follower, then pick up your 2 feet, your heartbeat, some law, and a megaphone. You want to talk about biblical authority? Take back your town. You want to talk about biblical authority? Take back your streets. You want to talk about biblical authority? Take back your schools. Get your kids out of those commie training camps before you talk about any biblical authority, malarkey. Know your rights. It's for the lack of knowledge that people are perishing. You have such a great day. Make good choices. This town is your responsibility. Can't pass the buck, boo-boo.